From billion-dollar companies to one-person developers, it takes a lot to get your game noticed. Whether it's a passion project or the first step towards something bigger, it's the dream of every creator to get eyes on the project. Hello and welcome to Schenko's top 5 smaller games that you can play for free. The genre of horror is one that stood the test of time, and you'd best bet it won't be going away anytime soon. Being transported into the shoes of a horror survivor and taking control of the situation is just such an alluring concept, which makes crafting an effective horror game that much more challenging. When I stepped into Fears to Fathom's first episode, it was a completely new take as I've never even heard of it before. The title Home Alone sets everything up so you know exactly what you're in for, but unlike the family-friendly film that the name would remind you of, this goes way more into the darker territory of how such an encounter would play out in real life. The experience in its entirety might be on the leaner side, but it is effective throughout and will definitely leave a dark print on your mind. Fears to Fathom is envisioned as a series that's brought to us by the single-person creator known as Rail. The idea behind the game is so eerie and visually stunning in the way that it plays out, as it is done in a VHS sort of style, instantly capturing that 90s feel and vibe. As of this video's release, there are 3 episodes out with many more on the way. While you can check out Home Alone for free, the rest are available for purchase at a budget price. Rail seem truly passionate about this project, as they're even looking to expand the team to grow the size and scope of the future Fears to Fathom games. I am truly looking forward to the future of this series, as things are shaping up quite impressively, and it all starts with Home Alone, which I can honestly recommend to anyone in search of a good fright. It goes without saying just how vital a role art plays in game design. The visuals on screen immediately tells you what you're in for, and sets the tone and shapes the atmosphere of what your entire experience is going to be. Every so often you come across a game though where the art design forms an intrinsic part of your journey, and Tukoni is exactly that sort of a game. The moment you see the start menu pop up, you feel like you're being transported into a picture book. This hits very close to the truth when you realize that the project was spearheaded by Oksana Bula, an award-winning artist who is behind a whole slew of children's picture books. Everything that's been taken from page to game translates beautifully and manages to work so well together. As you enter this world that's inhabited by these forest spirits who are caring for the lush green natural scapes that they call home, you can't help but be enchanted by the imagination that went into Bula's creation. Even though this little puzzler isn't quite as long as a full release title, it's still mighty impressive that a team had constructed it and brought it out completely free of charge. It goes to show how much of a passion project this is. Oksana Bula along with her development team just wanted to tell this story where they transported players into a delightfully vivid experience. By the time you reach the conclusion of Tukoni, it feels over way too soon. You might just feel enticed to look up some more of Bula's splendid books to take a closer look at the creativity that's led up to the making of this game. In the end though, this quick tour through a very artsy game will certainly prove worth your time. At the turn of the century, an interesting evolution in the gaming landscape took place, where the number of flash games grew more prominent as the internet became more accessible and widely available. Even though these games ranged in scope and quality, it's still impressive to think just how many talented people got an opportunity to show the world exactly what they are capable of. Back in 2003, Amanita Design got their shot when the visually stunning Samorost came into the public eye. It was the look of the game that really grabbed its player base, which isn't too much of a surprise as its developer was a student at an academy for arts, architecture and design. The word Samorost itself is translated from Czech, that is, an object crafted out of a discarded piece of wood. This pretty much sums up the look and feel of the game, as it captures the exact style that went into its design. Over the years, Amanita as a studio had gone on to not only release 2 sequels to Samorost, but also an entire range of other noteworthy titles in the puzzle adventure landscape. These games all proved to be works of art in their own right. As you can see, the tradition of striking visuals become a central theme to provide a distinct mood captured in each of Amanita's games. From their first foray into gaming that this small in-scope creation of a flash game had brought us so many years ago had gone a long way to put Amanita on the map. If you've never heard of this studio, or maybe you've even tried some of their later titles, it's still worth diving into Samorost. It proves to be a wonderful peek into some truly creative minds currently working in the video game industry. Darker emotional themes lend themselves very well to just about any sort of video game. Because the medium is so driven by visuals and interactivity, when someone delves into some of the more heavy topics, you feel more involved as if it's your hand taking part in the weighty decision making. This is exactly what you'll find when you step into the supper. The dark tones and creepy atmosphere leaves their moody fingerprints throughout the game, right up until the satisfying conclusion. It's rather gruesome fun and strangely hilarious in moments, meanwhile tackling the topic of what the effects of being a monster truly means. I honestly do not want to spoil anything about the game, as it nails it and will stick with you well after playing. Created by Octavio Navarro Arts and Games, pretty much a one-person developer, you'll find a whole bunch of other titles under this developer's banner. All of Navarro's games come with the same tone and darker aesthetics, as well as its distinct and beautifully pixelated graphics. You can definitely see what inspires this dev and the sort of formula that drives their design philosophy. Much in the same vein as Fears to Fathom, this first offering in the form of the supper is free to try out, whereas the rest of the developer's games are available to purchase at a budget price. Whether or not you'd be interested in the rest of the developer's titles though might depend on your preferences. As it stands, looking at the supper's standout art and its compellingly crafted tale, it's a no-brainer that this is a game well worth every minute of its bite-sized duration. While sticking to the darker side of the human experience, we'll be ending things off today with a title that came out the gate with some knockout punches and definitely manages to impress. It might be a bit short-lived in its length, but Karisvale is truly a special smaller title that'll leave you wanting more. We step into the shoes of Detective Seamus O'Malley, who enters the quaint little town of Karisvale. Very quickly you'll find that things seem a little bit off around here. Way off. As you step deeper into the mysteries of the town by way of exploration and questioning its odd citizens, you'll feel the unease mounting. In the same way as I've mentioned with the supper, I'm going to go out of my way not to spoil anything here, as you need to see this nice little game through to the end and find where exactly it takes you. It's the throwback nature of Karisvale that immediately got me feeling like a Game Boy title. As with most games on this list, Karisvale is the brainchild of a single person. Brendan Tahi, at the time of the game's creation, was still a university student enrolled at a USC School of Cinematic Arts, where he studied game design. It's a difficult task for me not to dig any deeper into the game, as I really want to avoid spoiling the plot. You just need to see it through to its wild ending. It truly is that out there of a journey. What I can say though is it left me wanting more. If it was 20 hours longer, I'd happily still be delving deeper into the intrigues of this quaint little town to see what is next. And I cannot wait to see what other crazy projects Brendan has got cooking up for us down the line. That brings us to the end of this list of 5 indie games that you can grab for free. Even if they are shorter in playtime, you definitely won't regret checking them out. These are just my picks though. Are there any free titles that you've played and would like to shed some more light on? Comment down below and maybe you'll give myself and others some new titles to check out. Like the video to show the channel your support and subscribe for more top 5 videos as well as classic and indie gameplay and recommended titles worth playing. Thank you for watching, keep on gaming and I'll see you in the next one.